5 regrets elders wish they could undo, and why they say these regrets weigh heavier than death itself. We grow up being told that age brings wisdom, that the longer you live, the more peace you will find. But what if I told you that for millions of seniors, the opposite is true? That as they reach the end of their lives, the wisdom that comes is not comfort, but torment. That the greatest pain they carry is not in their bones, not in their hearts, not in their fading bodies, but in the memories of what they failed to do. Every year, countless elders pass quietly into the night with smiles for their families. But behind those smiles lies a hidden truth. They are haunted by the lives they never lived. And here is the contradiction that should shake you. Most of us spend our younger years terrified of making mistakes, terrified of choosing the wrong job, saying the wrong thing, loving the wrong person. But when the end arrives, those mistakes vanish into dust. They fade. What does not fade is the weight of what was never tried, never spoken, never dared. It's not the failures that crush them. It's the silence. It's the caution. It's the safe choices that rob them of the chance to feel alive. Imagine reaching your final years believing you did everything right, only to realize that what you thought was safety was really the slow erosion of your spirit. Imagine discovering too late that the real danger wasn't in risking too much, but in living too little. This is the haunting testimony whispered in nursing homes, hospitals, and quiet bedrooms all around the world. Elders confess that their true suffering is not in the frailty of their bodies, but in the shadows of opportunities lost. One man, after decades of working a steady job, saving responsibly, and keeping his head down, admitted with tears in his eyes, "I played it safe all my life, but safety stole my life from me." Another woman, surrounded by grandchildren, still whispered the same chilling truth. "I told everyone I was happy, but inside, I carried words I never spoke, love I never gave, and dreams I never chased. That is what hurts now." These aren't isolated stories. They are a chorus of voices repeating the same warning. The worst regrets are not about what you did. The worst regrets are about what you never did. And yet, this is the warning almost no one hears while they still have time to act. Because regret is quiet while you are young. It waits. It lets you believe there will always be another year, another season, another chance, until there isn't. And this is where the stakes rise higher than you think. Just as some medical tests can harm the body while pretending to heal it, some choices in life can protect you in the short term, but destroy you in the long run. Playing it safe may feel like survival, but at the end, it becomes the very thing that kills the soul before the body gives out. Elders know this. They see it clearly when the clock is almost run out, and they would give anything to turn back time, to trade safety for courage, to speak when they were silent, to act when they hesitated. What if the true danger in your life right now isn't failure? What if the real danger is caution? What if the greatest threat isn't that you will do too much, but that you will do too little? And by the time you realize it, time itself will have slipped through your fingers. That is the contradiction elders reveal. That is the warning they want you to hear while you still can. Because here's the truth. Death comes for us all. It is certain, inescapable. But regret is not. Regret is a choice, repeated each day you avoid the risk of living. And elders say it is far worse than death. Death ends life, but regret poisons it. Death is one final moment, but regret is a slow burn that never stops until the very last breath. So what are these regrets that haunt them? What are the choices they wish they had made, the words they wish they had spoken, the roads they wish they had walked? Across countless conversations, across decades of testimonies, 5 regrets rise above all others. 5 regrets that repeat themselves like a curse from one generation to the next. 5 regrets that, if you ignore them, may one day become yours. And I will warn you, once you hear them, you cannot unhear them. You cannot go back to pretending that safety will protect you, or that silence will save you, or that waiting for the right time is harmless. Because these regrets will reveal that the very things you believe keep you safe may in fact be destroying the life you were meant to live. The elders I've spoken to do not tremble at the memory of their failures. They tremble at the memory of their inaction. They do not cry over the things they lost in risk. They cry over the things they never risked at all. They do not fear the grave. They fear the reflection in the mirror of memory, showing them the person they might have been. And here is the cruelest part. These regrets are not dramatic. They are simple, ordinary. They are the missed phone call, the unspoken "I love you," the job never left, the journey never taken. They are small choices, stacked one upon another until they form a mountain too heavy to move. And at the end, that mountain sits upon the chest, pressing down, making every breath a reminder of what was never lived. You may think this won't be you. You may think you are too young, too careful, too focused. But every elder who has whispered these regrets once thought the same. They once believed they had all the time in the world. They once believed regret was something that belonged to someone else. And now, their only gift left to give is a warning. A warning to those who still have time: do not make the same mistake. Today, I will reveal the 5 regrets that haunt the elderly more than any illness, more than any loss, more than even the fear of death itself. Each one is a mirror, showing us not what they lost, but what we may still lose if we do not act. Each one is a chance to see our lives not as they are, but as they could be. You won't hear this from the voices that tell you to be careful, to play it safe, to wait for tomorrow. You won't see it on billboards or in headlines, but the truth is there, buried in the quiet voices of those who have walked to the very edge of life. And today, you will hear it. Stay with me, because as we uncover each regret, the picture will grow clearer and the weight of their words will grow heavier. And when we reach the final one, the regret worse than death itself, you may find that your own life will never look the same again. Every year, millions of seniors reach the final chapters of their lives carrying a hidden weight. Not the weight of illness, not even the weight of poverty or loneliness, but the invisible burden of regret. And here's the shocking truth. Researchers who have studied the psychology of aging estimate that more than 37% of older adults admit their biggest regrets are about things they never did. Dreams abandoned, love withheld, words unsaid. Even more chilling, surveys reveal that while only 12% mention mistakes as their greatest source of pain, nearly half confess that their deepest torment comes from missed opportunities. Think about that for a moment. We are taught from childhood to avoid mistakes at all costs. We measure success in how carefully we dodge failure, in how safely we build our lives. And yet, by the end, the data is undeniable. It's not the failures that ruin us. It's the absence of risks, the lives unlived. The very thing we spend our lives protecting ourselves from, failure, is almost irrelevant. The real danger lies in the choices never taken, and the numbers grow darker still. Psychologists tracking patterns of regret have found that regret intensifies with age. It does not soften. It does not fade. Instead, it multiplies. The reason is simple. When you're younger, there is still time to fix what you've left undone. But as the years collapse and time runs out, the possibility of change disappears. What was once a missed chance becomes a permanent wound. One researcher described it like this: mistakes heal, but regret calcifies. Here's the part almost no one wants to admit. Regret can be as destructive to the body as disease. Studies have linked unresolved regret to depression, anxiety, and even physical decline. Elders who carry heavy regrets are more likely to suffer from insomnia, weakened immunity, and increased mortality. In fact, some physicians quietly refer to it as a silent killer because the stress of regret corrodes health in ways no medicine can stop. It is as if the body itself buckles under the weight of what might have been. And this is why you need to hear what comes next. Because the regrets most commonly confessed by the elderly are not the ones you'd expect. They are not about wealth or fame or extravagant ambitions. They are simple, ordinary things that almost everyone believes they will have time to fix, until they don't. You might believe you already know what they regret most. You might guess it's about family or work or love, and you would be partly right. But there are 5 regrets that repeat with chilling consistency across every background, every culture, every life story. They are so common that once you recognize them, you will see their shadows in your own life. And here's where the suspense builds. Some of these regrets sound obvious, almost predictable. until you hear the stories behind them. Others will shock you because they are the kinds of regrets we rarely hear aloud. One of them, in particular, is whispered in hushed voices, shared only in the final days. And when I tell you what it is, you will understand why. You won't believe what made it to number 2. It is so deceptively simple, so common, that almost everyone has carried it at some point. Yet elders swear it is one of the most devastating truths of all, the kind that festers in silence until it becomes unbearable. And if you don't face it now, you may one day carry the same regret to your final breath. So stay with me, because each of these 5 regrets is a warning. Each one is a mirror, showing you not only what the elderly have lost, but what you still might lose if you turn away. And as we climb from the 5th to the 1st, the regrets will grow heavier, darker, until we reach the one that elders say is worse than death itself. Before I reveal the first regret, I want to pause and ask you something directly. Where are you watching from right now? And more importantly, how old are you? And have you ever felt the sting of regret yourself? Maybe it was something small, like a word you didn't say when you should have. Or maybe it was something bigger, a decision you avoided that still echoes in your mind years later. I want you to share it below in the comments. Not just because it helps others, but because you'll be surprised at how many people have carried the same weight. You might even find that by speaking it out loud, by putting it into words, you take away some of its power. And I promise you this, I read every single one. I reply to as many as I can because these conversations matter. They are proof that none of us are alone in facing these truths. And if this message already resonates with you, if you've ever wondered how to avoid carrying the same regrets elders whisper about at the end of their lives, then make sure you subscribe right now. Because every week, I bring you stories, lessons, and warnings straight from the voices of those who have already walked the path you're still on. Their time is nearly over, but their wisdom can save yours. So take a moment, drop a comment below, where you are, your age, and the regret that has weighed most heavily on you. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because we're about to begin the countdown of the 5 regrets elders wish they could undo, and once you hear them, you will never look at your own choices the same way again. Number 5, the regret of playing it too safe. It sounds harmless, even wise. We're told all our lives to be cautious, to avoid risks, to stay within the lines. But here's what no one tells you. The very habit of playing it safe is one of the deepest regrets confessed by elders. Studies from aging research show that more than 41% of seniors list, "I wish I had taken more risks," as their top regret. The tragedy is that what feels like security in youth often transforms into emptiness in old age. Rose, an 82-year-old widow, told me through trembling lips, "I never lost anything big, but that's because I never tried anything big." She had opportunities, travel, new careers, even love after her husband passed, but she turned them all down out of fear. I thought safety was happiness, but safety is just a slower kind of dying. The alternative? Courage doesn't have to mean recklessness. It can be as simple as saying yes to opportunities instead of defaulting to no. Choosing action over hesitation. Saying what you mean before time runs out. But if playing it safe can haunt you, what comes next is even more painful. Because some elders say the deepest wound is not about what they did or didn't do. It's about the words they kept locked inside. Number 4, the regret of silence. Silence seems harmless. It avoids conflict, keeps the peace, spares embarrassment. But here's what no one tells you. Silence often robs you of the chance to heal, to love, to connect. Research shows that unresolved conflicts are among the top 3 sources of emotional regret in people over 70. George, a retired school principal, told me about the day his brother died. They hadn't spoken in 15 years, after a small quarrel that ballooned into estrangement. I thought there would always be another holiday, another chance to call, but then the phone rang, and it was too late. His eyes filled as he whispered, "I would give anything just to say I'm sorry." The safer alternative to silence is truth. Speak the apology. Say the "I love you." Tell someone you're proud of them before it's too late. The risk of rejection is nothing compared to the torment of never having said the words at all. But silence is only one side of regret. Because even those who speak can find themselves trapped in another prison, the endless wait for the right time. And that regret, elders say, is heavier than both mistakes and silence combined. Number 3, the regret of wasted time. Time seems abundant. We imagine decades stretched ahead, endless opportunities to fix what we've left undone. But here's what no one tells you. Decades vanish in a blink. Studies on aging regret confirm that "I wish I had used my time better" is repeated by over half of adults in their final years. Raymond, a 90-year-old veteran, sat in his chair and stared at the clock as he told me, "I kept waiting for the right season, after work, after the kids, after retirement, and all that waiting became my life. Now, I sit here waiting for nothing." He paused, shaking his head. "Ordinary days were the treasure. I just never noticed." The solution is not complicated, but it is urgent. Treat every day as if it is the prize, not the rehearsal. Spend time with people, not screens. Walk in the sun, not just in the shadow of tomorrow. But if time wasted is a regret, what about the times when the heart itself was wasted? Because for many elders, the greatest wounds are not in the hours lost, but in the loves never lived. And that is where the countdown grows darker still. Number 2. The regret of love unlived. Love sounds like the safest, most natural thing in the world. But here's what no one tells you. Love rejected out of fear, or love withheld out of pride, is one of the most crushing regrets elders confess. Surveys reveal that nearly 1/3 of seniors rank "I wish I'd let myself love more" as a top regret, especially when it comes to relationships abandoned or never pursued. Dana, now 77, told me about the man she adored in her youth but never confessed her feelings to. "I saw him every Sunday at church. I loved him for 10 years in silence. Then he married someone else, and I carried that silence for the rest of my life." She smiled faintly, but her eyes were wet. You think the pain of rejection will kill you, but it's nothing compared to the pain of wondering forever what might have been. The safer alternative? Choose vulnerability. Love fully, speak openly, risk heartbreak. Because heartbreak fades, but the emptiness of never loving at all only grows deeper with age. And if that sounds devastating, prepare yourself. Because elders tell me that there is one regret even darker, even heavier than silence, wasted time, or love withheld. A regret so secretive that most whisper it only on their deathbeds. And when you hear it, you will understand why they say it is worse than death itself. Number 1, the regret of a life unlived. This is the one elders almost never say aloud until the very end. The one that sits beneath all the others, beneath the silence, beneath the wasted time, beneath the love never spoken. It is the regret of realizing in the final moments that they never truly lived. Not that they made mistakes, not that they failed, but that they passed through life as if it were something to be endured instead of embraced. It begins innocently, like a small ache. At first, it's just one missed chance, one safe choice, one silence, then another, and another, until the pattern becomes a life. By the time you reach the end, you don't remember the failures, because they no longer matter. What you remember is the emptiness, the years you spent waiting, the days you let slip through your fingers, the laughter you didn't chase, the people you didn't hold on to, the courage you didn't summon. Marcus, a retired factory worker, sat staring at the ceiling when he told me, "I don't regret the job I chose. I don't regret the house I lived in. I regret that I was too afraid to live. I let the years pass me by like I was waiting for permission." His words cracked, and then he whispered, "And now, there's no more time to ask." Psychologists call this the existential regret, the recognition that life was not fully lived. And studies confirm it is the most powerful, the most consistent regret revealed at the end of life. More than careers, more than love, more than health, this one outweighs them all. Because while silence and wasted time can wound, the regret of a life unlived is like a sentence handed down without appeal. There is no fixing it, no returning. Only the knowledge that the treasure was in your hands all along, and you never opened it. The stakes rise here beyond any of the others. Because silence can be broken, time can be reclaimed, love can still be found. But once you reach the final hours and realize you never truly lived, the clock has run out. There are no second chances, no do-overs. The realization is absolute, and the weight of it is so heavy that elders whisper it in hushed tones, as if naming it makes the sorrow deeper. One nurse told me of a patient who, on his deathbed, repeated the same line over and over. "I didn't live. I didn't live. I didn't live." Nothing else mattered. Not his mistakes, not his possessions, not even his achievements. Only the crushing truth that he had existed, but never truly embraced life. That is why elders say this is the regret worse than death itself. Because death is inevitable, but this regret is avoidable. And yet, countless people carry it to their graves every single day. And here is the question you must face. Will this be your regret too? Will you reach the end whispering, "I didn't live"? Or will you choose now, while you still have time, to live in such a way that when the final breath comes, regret has no place beside you? Stay with me, because in the final part, I'll reveal why this last regret is so dangerous and how to escape it before it's too late. The darkest lesson the elders whisper is still ahead, and if you miss it, you may one day find yourself whispering the same words. Modern wisdom tells us that if we work hard, stay careful, and avoid mistakes, we'll find peace in the end. But elders who have lived to the very edge of life say otherwise. They remind us that sometimes less is more, not less living, but less hiding, less waiting, less silence. A life stripped of hesitation is worth more than a life padded with safety. Because mistakes can be forgiven, but regret only grows heavier with time. The moral is not to fear death, nor to fear failure. The moral is to fear the slow, quiet erosion of a life unlived. To recognize that existence is not the same as living, and that every day you spend postponing courage is another day lost forever. Elders tell us plainly, the clock is always moving, and no amount of caution can slow it. The only thing you can do is fill it with words spoken, love risked, and choices made boldly, even if imperfectly. So here is the practical advice that every elder wished they had followed. Live in a way that leaves little room for regret. Choose experiences over excuses. Choose conversations over silence. Choose presence over distraction. It isn't about reckless leaps or grand achievements. It's about daring to act before time closes the door. Because once it does, nothing remains but echoes of what if. Now, I want to hear from you. Share your experiences in the comments below. What regrets have you already carried, and what steps are you taking to make sure they don't follow you to the end? Your story might be the one that helps someone else choose differently. And if this message struck you, subscribe to join this community. Every week, I bring you lessons drawn from the voices of those who have already walked the path ahead of us. Their time is nearly gone, but their wisdom still has the power to shape ours. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for reflecting with me. I'll see you in the next video, where together we'll uncover more truths that the world often hides, but that the elders never stop whispering.